Привет! I'm Chuck Olinik, a Ukrainian-American baptized with the name Yaroslav, and that's the name that I use in the historical reenactment group, the Society for Creative Anachronism, where I'm known as Yaroslav the Persistent. I've been putting together videos on Slavic folklore and mythology and customs and putting them up on my YouTube channel in order to encourage folks to develop an Eastern European persona. Okay. This one is a little late in going up. I should have posted it ideally May 31st, but I was at a tournament, or I should have posted it June 1st, but I was recovering from said tournament. Life gets in the way sometimes. It's the green time of year, unless you live in Southern California or Caid, where what was green for a little bit, for a couple of months, is now turning to gold as it dries. In Slavic lands, the grass would be lush and green, apples are blossoming, wild flax begins blooming in the mountains. It's the holiday of Rusalnaia week. Okay, since it's a week, maybe I'm not all that late. Let's get into it. At the start of summer, Rusalnaia week, in early June, the water spirits called the rusalki were believed to be at their most dangerous. These spirits, unquiet dead beings, the souls of young women who died in or near a river, often suicides or murder victims, left their watery depths where they lived in crystal palaces ornamented with gold and silver, which came from sunken vessels and lit by a magic furnace that shone brighter than the sun. Then the rusalki chose as a nest the branches of a willow or a birch which overhung the water, green trees thought to be the abode of the dead, in order to swing upon the branches by night. On moonlit nights they held games, they danced in the clearings, a demon accompanied them on a flute or pipes, and their presence would leave thicker grass or barley. They'd sing songs, and they'd make coronets of flowers, which is why modest gifts such as wreaths of flowers were brought to riversides to appease the rusalki. And the rusalki also carried combs with them because their hair was like long and free-flowing, and once you were married, you were supposed to have your hair all bound up, right? And that's why there would be accusations that if a woman was walking around with loose hair, she was walking like a rusalka and being a temptress. And so what the rusalki would do is they would get into the trees and they would be combing their hair, and these combs had magical powers, and they were what was supposed to produce the extra moisture and the rain in order to make the grasses thicker and the crops more lush. Swimming during this week was strictly forbidden. The rusalki could drag a swimmer down to the riverbed. They tried to steal the souls of unwary girls. They would punish the women who did chores during this green week. And the shrill laughter of the rusalki could be fatal to men. They sometimes drowned or enslaved them. It's during this week the celebration is going to get held. End of May, beginning of June, that would be the time when grains in the fields are starting to bloom. You need the extra moisture in order to produce the crops. And that's the traditional time to call upon rain, or try to summon more rain, and thus ensure a plentiful harvest in July and August. Later it's going to get connected to Christianity, which made the Rusalnaia week shift, just like Easter, from year to year, as far as when that's going to start. And the Christian interpretation of the holiday was it was the 7th week after the ascension of Christ's soul into heaven. But it started off as an agricultural holiday in anticipation of the harvest festivals of August called the Spasi, the honey or poppy spas, the apple spas, and the nut or bread spas. That's a discussion for August. All right, back to the Rusalnaia week. There were complaints from a bunch of Christian writers. They were describing offerings being made during the week, villagers spinning, and they're drinking from horns, which I thought was kind of interesting because horns, which you'd see on some of the carvings, but the kovsh was a much more common drinking vessel, but maybe tradition. All right, so they're drinking from their horns and they're singing commoners' songs. In Eastern Slavic lands, there were rusalki rituals that were involving women, and only women, tending to honor female deities like Mokosh and Pereplut, as well as the rusalki. Now, Southern Slavs, they preserved unique customs of men playing a chief role in rusalki festivities, and they were honoring Perun, the god of thunder, and Yarilo, the god of fertility and of carnal love, who would also assist in achieving the same goal as what the rusalki were doing as far as bringing more rain. And with what the Southern Slavs were doing, it was almost like a fraternity in each village. You know, that if like maybe 3 to 13 men, and kind of getting into it was kind of like getting into the Masons or something like that. So it was apparently, maybe it was a prestigious thing. All right, now both groups tended to, you know, in Eastern Europe, also, I guess, you know, like with the, you know, Western Slavic people and the Southern ones, there were rituals about leading something related to moisture in the crops, and the name would be different in different regions. So there'd be reference to leading the cuckoo in northern Russia, and the Topolia, that's a poplar tree, something that rusalki could turn into, and that would be like a central Ukrainian thing, or leading the horse, and that was represented by 2 men. And the common feature in the Rusalnaia week was the final ritual banishment or burial of the rusalki at the end of the week, and consigning her effigy to the waters or to the flames. And that's also why women tended to also make, you know, floral wreaths and cast those upon the water. So here I am on a rainy day of Rusalnaia week, talking about summoning moisture. So until the next time, do побачення.